G'day, I'm Paul. Welcome to the Honda Tech Day in Japan, where we get to sample some of Honda's new technology. We're going to drive the new Prelude, the Super One electric car, and also have a look at Honda's next generation hybrid systems, along with their 0 Series EV platform. Today's going to be highly disjointed without a great deal of time to film. It is unfortunately the nature of these things, but I'm going to try and put it together as sort of concisely as I can so you can understand what's going on. But we're going to start over here and just have a look at some of these models I have on display before we go for a spin. Okay, so we're going to start off in here. This is the Honda 0 Series platform. The one that you're looking at here is the Saloon, which was first debuted at CES, but we had a look at it at the Tokyo Motor Show as well. If you haven't seen our video of that, you can click up there to watch it. But this is basically a rolling chassis of what Honda will produce with their next generation of electric cars. And what they're boasting about here is packaging inside the cabin. The Saloon in particular only has a height of under 1.5 metres. It is pretty crazy when you think electric cars. Typically, batteries force the floor of an electric car up, which means you're compromised in terms of interior space, especially when it comes to legroom and stuff like that. But here, what they're saying is that the aluminium frame that they have that's encasing this battery is so thin that it doesn't intrude in terms of cabin space. They haven't really told us yet what type of battery chemistry they're going to have here, but we do know that they are partnering with LG for the North American market. We don't know how that's going to pan out for the rest of the world. Unfortunately, despite it having heaps of space up the front here, they are saying that it won't have a frunk, which I just do not understand, and that is including all their SUVs. I understand on the Saloon you might not have a frunk, but on your SUVs, surely you're going to have a frunk there. One of the other things as well, Sean, if you come around here, they've developed a new motor for this front axle, and it's designed in a specific way with battery protection being the key. And I'll show you the side protection in just a second, but specifically here with this motor, in a front impact, because it has such a low front overhang, the motor's designed to actually collapse underneath the vehicle, so retaining protection for the battery, which begins just there. That is the last thing you want in a car with an NMC battery, because it will potentially cause a thermal runaway event. And then around the side of the vehicle here, have a look at this protection too. I've actually seen simulations before at GM with side impacts on battery electric vehicles and how much protection they have here on the sidewall. So it's good to see that that's continued there. Then around the back here too, another thing that I'm finding curious here, if this is going to be a platform that's shared amongst their other vehicles, obviously an SUV is going to sit higher. There also isn't a great deal of storage room under here. When you think about something like a Tesla Model Y, you have a deep storage because you don't have to have any components in this section of the vehicle. So it'll be interesting to see how they manage that. They also run air suspension here on this particular sort of rolling chassis. Whether that actually makes it to the final production car, we don't know. But it is exciting to see Honda doing stuff in the EV space and transferring their knowledge from hybrids, which they've been doing now for ages, through to fully electrified vehicles like this. This is the new Honda Prelude. Now, this is coming to Australia next year, and I mean, the headline items here are carryover engine from the Civic. It is a hybrid front-wheel drive. The interesting components, though, if you come around to the side with me here, it's got the dual-axis suspension set up from Civic Type R, so that's meant to eliminate torque steer with just over 300 newton meters of torque. It's probably not the end of the world, but it gives you just a bit more confidence when it comes to cornering. Brembo brakes as well to keep everything in check, and it also has a wider track too to make sure that it feels nice and confident behind the wheel. The design looks fantastic, especially here in this off-white colour. Have a look at the back of it. That looks so good. We actually did a walk-around video at the show, and I'm going to put a link in the description below so you can have a look at that. Show you what it looks like inside here. So part of the whole drivetrain package is driven by the S Plus button over there. So you've got GT, Comfort and Sport. Depending on which mode you pick, GT is your standard drive mode, Sport is the sportiest drive mode, and Comfort sort of dials it back. You've got adaptive damping, so it means that this has really comfortable ride. Here, this is an incredibly smooth surface, so when we go out for a drive, I'm probably not going to be able to give you too much of an assessment on the ride, but it'll at least give us an idea of what it is like when it comes to a little bit of cornering. And then, Sean, if you stick your head in there, look at that, you've also got a set of seats there as well. So it's a bit of a 911 there in terms of how much space you have. Anyway, it is my turn to have a drive, so I'm going to hop in and see how it goes. So I've just hopped out of the Prelude, depending on which way you want to call it. Thought I'd give you my drive impressions because we weren't allowed to film while I was driving. Look, it's a really fascinating car. So the crux of it is 2-litre internal combustion engine, but it uses the hybrid system out of the Civic, and it uses 2 electric motors and an eCVT. But it's not belts and pulleys. These 2 electric motors effectively simulate a CVT. The way that it works is you have a generator that's attached to the engine. So when the engine spins, the generator spins as well, and it can charge the battery. The battery is only about 1 kilowatt hour in terms of size. And then you have a traction motor, which is your electric drivetrain. That's primarily driving the car. When you get up to higher speeds, there's a clutch that allows it to do direct drive. So depending on the speed that it's doing, the Atkinson cycle engine will pick the most efficient sort of band to be in. Then in addition to all of that, you actually have stepped gears as well. So you've got 8 gears to pick from. When you have it in the S Plus mode for sport, it actually feels like a dual clutch. It's got rapid up shifts, rapid down shifts, and I don't know, it just feels really engaging and interesting. When you look at the hardware though, you've got dual axis suspension there from the Civic Type R. You've got a wider track as well. So this isn't just a Civic that's gone on a diet. This is a car that actually feels really nice and engaging to drive. Brembo brakes as well. Around this really short circuit here, I got to find that the steering felt good. It doesn't have a great deal of body roll either, but it is going to be one of those cars that isn't mega fast in a straight line like a Civic Type R. It's a car that is a slow car. When you drive it fast, it is nice and engaging. So has only been a really short sample here, but with 150 odd kilowatts of power from combined output and about 300 newton meters of torque, you're not getting any sort of great deal of torque steer because you don't have enough torque there for it to really be a problem. But even out of corners, if you punch the throttle, it actually feels really nice. So I think I've done a really good job with this, and I cannot wait to get it back in Australia to the proving ground where I can put it through its paces. Now, Honda does small, mid and large size platforms, and this is an example of an upcoming large size hybrid system they're working on. It's paired to a V6 petrol engine. You've got a battery pack over here and then an e-axle at the rear. Now, one of the big benefits that Honda has is they have the ability to direct drive the front axle, and we've seen this on their small and mid-sized platform. But this, primarily for the North American market and larger vehicles, is designed to give you the ability to tow, do some light off-roading, but still have the energy efficiency of a hybrid drivetrain. And this is kind of an example of what they're trying to do. They've got their dawn of an EV era, which is your early adopters, and then moving to predominantly EV. And what they're using with this technology is, I guess, stepping stones through to full EV. So we've seen all their Zero Series stuff, but this is what's going to get them there in the near term. And this particularly, like I said, for the North American market, is designed for towing, giving you the performance that you need and also giving that light off-road ability. We have seen with vehicles like the BYD Shark, if it is an all-wheel drive hybridized system without a driveline, which is what this is, they do tend to struggle off-road unless you can fit locking differentials and reduction gears, but this will primarily be for soft-roading. They're also integrating this S Plus shift. When we go for a drive in the Prelude and also another prototype they're going to show us shortly, we'll be able to have a play with that. It brings in stepped gears to an eCVT, and an eCVT doesn't have belts, doesn't have pulleys. It's a very different system to the CVT that a lot of people think of. It's a twin motor setup, and this is the next generation of that in its entirety. So this will be in production soon enough. We won't get it in Australia, but it is something that I am keen to have a drive of, because being a V6, this could make its way into other products down the track. Now, here's a car I haven't seen before. It is the CR-V plug-in hybrid. We don't get this in Australia, and we won't be getting it in Australia anytime soon. It is a China market-only car, but I thought I'd just show you it, run you through the specs. So obviously, being a plug-in hybrid, you've got a battery that's just under 20 kilowatt hours in size. In terms of outputs, the electric motor, 135 kilowatts and 109 kilowatts for the internal combustion engine. Combined torque output of over 400 newton meters, so it's actually not a bad amount. The drivetrain is offered as a two-wheel drive, so it is only basically a front-wheel drive setup. So it's not really overly useful for any off-roading or anything like that. Driving range of under 100 kilometres as well. I can see why this probably wouldn't work in Australia. Given the pricing structure at the moment of Hondas in Australia, this would be incredibly expensive. But from a packaging point of view, it looks exactly like a standard CR-V, and it gives you charging capacity of up to 7 kilowatts as well. So come and have a look at the boot. I'll just see what it's like here in terms of cargo space. It's actually not too bad. It's not like you're robbed of too much cargo space here. You still have adequate space there. Being a smaller battery, it just gives you a bit more room to play with. Look at that, it's actually packaged incredibly well. Flat floor as well, so I don't know, they've actually done quite a good job with this. You look at some of the plug-in hybrids we have on the market and they are just full of compromises when it comes to battery placements and flat floors and that type of thing. This actually doesn't look too bad. So we're now at the next station here, and behind me is a prototype car. So it's basically like a Civic, but the whole front end is Beluga Whaley. It's very different. But this is basically a sample of the next generation hybrid system that Honda is currently working on. So this is going to be released in the years to come. But what they're doing here is giving us a sample of what it's like to drive on this slightly tighter circuit, because it debuts also a 6-axis ICU, which is a system that integrates all the motion sensors inside the car, and it's able to then adjust the way the car handles and performs. They've also integrated some noises here as well. As the car took off before, it had a little burble to it. So this is the next generation hybrid vehicle. So the whole concept here is that it's fitted with Honda's next generation of hybrid components. And the fascinating thing here is that it has a pretty cool rasp to it. And even though this uses a similar system to the existing hybrid products where you're not using belts and pulleys for the CVT, they've been able to simulate gear shifts here that give you a really good vibe for what the car is doing. And in fact, in the normal drive mode, it's actually shifting gears just like a conventional vehicle. And you can then manually shift with paddles too if you want. Really nice and responsive too. This vehicle is an unknown vehicle. It's a prototype, but it's sitting nice and flat through these corners and just giving me a whole lot of feedback as we move along here. And I really like the sound. When it was taking off before, the exhaust sound sounded like a dual clutch. Sort of had those little barky gear shifts, and yeah, I don't know. To me, I think it's really impressive. I've just been out in the car. It actually feels like a conventional automatic transmission. It's shifting up through the gears. You can then take over yourself. Feels like a dual clutch, just without the jerky motion at low speed and then the sort of fussiness that you sometimes get with dual clutch transmissions. And having a chat with the engineers just now as well, they're saying that they're hopeful that this application could work with turbocharging, which means next generations of Type R may actually have some kind of a hybrid integration within them. And that will then enable these vehicles to be not only quicker and more efficient, but a bit more responsive as well. You're not going to have that turbo lag. It can be filled with electric motors and just make that driving experience feel a bit more natural. So yeah, it's pretty exciting stuff, and I'll be curious to see how they actually integrate this and how it comes out in a production car, because driving it out here, it actually feels quite sophisticated and advanced, so it can't be too far off actually going into production. So going from outside where you've got the sort of camouflage prototype, this is actually a rolling chassis version of the mid-size platform and a lot of the stuff that they've integrated there into that next generation hybrid. So here what they're trying to do is make adjustments to centre of gravity for things like suspension, so you're getting less noise into the cabin, and also improves handling. Making it more compact as well, so they've moved the hybrid battery from this boot area to beneath the rear seats. It'll give them a bit more cargo space. So all of these things will add up to provide a more sort of open environment for them to build a car around. And given that this is a mid-sized platform, it's going to be for everything from sedans through to SUVs. It needs to be quite versatile in terms of everything that they can actually package in. And one of the other big changes as well is when it comes to safety. So these changes they've made to the chassis not only improve handling dynamics, because they have a bit more flexibility in parts of the structure, but they've also led to improvements in terms of crash resistance as well, and chest deflection when it comes to high impacts as well. So yeah, a lot of little changes here, but we won't see anything like this in production for a little while longer. But it is exciting to see they are pretty close with it based on what we just drove there and based on what we're seeing here. This can't be too far off entering production as a new model. Now, I wanted to show you this. This is the Honda Stepwgn. It's like stepmother. Basically, two drivetrains. One is a hybrid, one is just a standard internal combustion. So depending on which one you go for, the hybrid drivetrain is basically a replica of the Civic. 135 kilowatt electric motor output, 107 kilowatt internal combustion output, but slightly detuned. Come and have a look at the interior. The internal combustion one is just 110 kilowatts, but This car costs, and I had to double check this because I couldn't believe it, about $30,000 for the base model. And when I say base model, it's not exactly like it's the cheapest sort of looking thing in the world. When you hop in here, you've got all these sort of cloth finishes, but it's just a car that you could easily put family in. You don't need to spend mega dollars. It's crazy how cheap cars are in Japan because they can flex around some of the design rules and some of the road rules that they have in Japan, whereas in Australia we're kind of constrained in terms of what you can and can't do. But imagine getting this for 30 grand in Australia to transport the family around, even as a hybrid. It's incredibly efficient. So yeah, pretty cool little family car, and I'd love to see these in Australia one day. Okay, so next up we've got the Honda Super One. I'm excited for this because it is so small. Look at it. It's like the size of a shoe. So this is a prototype version of the car. This is coming to Australia though, and it is based on the K version of this car. There's a van and also like a version that looks like this, but this is the sporty one. You can see the flared wheel arches. It's got a wider track. It's got some really cool features integrated into it as well when it comes to the drivetrain. So they haven't told us how much power it makes or how big the battery is, but they've integrated things like stepped gears, so you can feel gear shifts as you go. It's got a boost mode as well that also puts sound into the cabin. It's got vibration in there too. And just have a look at these flares, literally front and rear, they stick out really nicely. So it should actually mean that it handles pretty well. We don't know pricing yet for Australia either. I'll show you what it looks like here in the boot. Look at it. It's so cute. And I'll show you the interior too. Sean, come around here. Have a look at that. So it is modern in there too. You've got the big screen. You've got a screen ahead of the driver that displays stuff like your battery temperature, power level. So I think it's going to be good fun. I'm going to hop in just a sec, take it for a spin, and then I'll let you know what I think at the end. Okay, so we are in the Super One prototype. I'm going to press boost mode here. Oh, have a listen to that. That is so cool. So I mentioned before, we don't actually know the power output of this, but it is so interesting. They've kind of done what Hyundai did with the Ioniq 5N, providing a gear shift mode, providing noises, and this actually does blips on downshifts. Oh, it is so interesting. It's such a nimble little thing. It's so weird. It feels like it's going to topple over at any point, but given it's an EV, it has that low center of gravity. It's got great torque as well once you get on the throttle, especially in this boost mode. The boost mode refines how much torque delivery you have, and it just gives it that little bit of extra pep when it picks up. And the noise that gets plumbed into the cabin is unreal. It has a slight vibration too, to make you actually feel like you're doing slightly more than what you are actually doing. I'll give it one more stab over here. Nice. Fantastic. And then ahead of the driver, you've got a battery temperature, a virtual RPM gauge, and also a kilowatt reading too. You've got paddle shifters here on the steering wheel, so you can manually select the gears if you want to. And so now we go back to first here, and then as we round this corner, I'll accelerate through. That is so cool. It's fantastic. So there is a blanked out switch here because this is a prototype. They are actually looking at putting in an additional sport mode on top of the boost mode. And it's got sticky little tyres as well, which means that you do have a decent amount of traction. The wider stance and track width above and beyond the K car means that it does feel a lot more planted as it's moving. So it is really fun and engaging. It is just going to be a car that they need to price well for Australia. If it is too expensive, it's going to be very hard to sell, especially with all the Chinese cars we have on the market. So I've just been for a spin. Sorry, I had to wear glasses in there. I wasn't able to record, so it just looks a bit weird. But anyway, what did I think? It is a fun little car. I wasn't expecting to like it as much. The K car version has 47 kilowatts, so this is obviously much more. They've said the difference between the K car and this, the sporty one, is kind of like the power difference between a 4-cylinder and a 6-cylinder car. So that is technically what they're trying to aim for. It doesn't feel super punchy, but it doesn't feel super slow either. It will be interesting to see where they land with the price, because if this is expensive, no one is going to buy it. It can be as fun as it wants to be, but people aren't buying small electric cars in Australia, and if they miss the price, I just think it is going to cost too much. So look, that has been your first look here at some of the tech that Honda has coming, the Prelude, the Super One, which is coming to Australia, Prelude coming to Australia, of course. I'm excited to see this next generation hybrid stuff because it really moves the game. Yes, they have EVs coming, but it kind of super efficiently I guess, gets as much as they possibly can out of their internal combustion engines. We have to be at the peak now of how much you can sort of eke out of these internal combustion engines before they all start their switch to electric. So anyway, really fascinating stuff. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you reckon in the comments section below. Do you think that hybrid is the way to go? Will you be going down the path of electric? I'm always keen to see what you guys think. Let me know down there. Are you excited for the Prelude and the Super One as well? How much do you think they're going to cost? I'm keen for your feedback. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure you like it and you share it with your mates. But until next time, take it easy.